Oh man, we are back. Is Red Supreme. Check out the stream. And I told y'all, man, we're gonna be doing some work over here on this channel. We got to get the numbers up. We want to get the channel back in the algorithm. So tap on in, man. It's gonna be a beautiful thing today. More content, more videos being dropped on King Supreme TV today. So get on up in here, man. It is time to enjoy this content. And we're gonna keep this thing moving. Now, shout out to everybody for getting in the comments yesterday. The stream that excuse me, the stream that I did on this channel yesterday is at 1,000 views. And that's pretty good, man, because I haven't done a live stream on this channel in over a year, maybe even longer than that. So to get 1,000 views on a channel that I haven't uploaded on in years, that's great. And we got 200 new subscribers too, man, in one day. So that's pretty damn good. So guess what? We're going to continue to post content every day. Now, right now, man, we're going to talk about Nick Fuentes and the negative things that he has to say about the black community. Nick Fuentes, you're not talking about the corruption and dysfunction in your own community. And we're going to break down that hypocrisy on today's show. So where the good old people at, man? We're going to move this camera around and we're going to blow the screen back up in a minute. Let's get it. What it do? Make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel. And yes, share this on any social media platform that you want to share this on. Yes, true indeed. See, when you think about check this out. Now, they buried Charlie Kirk yesterday. They had Charlie's memorial yesterday. And I'm not gonna say anything negative about somebody while they're being buried. You know, I'm not gonna say anything negative about them. I'm not gonna react to his memorial. I'm not gonna do that. Now, I will talk about his so-called legacy and the lies that he told on the black community. We will talk about that, no problem. But today's topic is Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes made a video saying that this is how you survive black people. When you study the history in this country, black folks had to survive white people. You know, I'm just giving you the historical facts. The first street gangs of America were white European immigrants. The first drug dealers were immigrants. The first baby daddies of America were white immigrants, right? And we're just being real about history. You can't listen. I know you want to rewrite history and throw the black community under the bus, but nah, buddy, we understand the history of this country. We're not going to let you do it. And if you watch my channel, you already know, man, I hold my people accountable too when they get out of line. So I'm not biased. I'm honest. When it's time to hold our people accountable, I have no problem. I have no problem doing it. I do it all the time. All you got to do is check out my content and you will see it for yourself. Yeah. Somebody put you on timeout, Tammy? Who put you on timeout, Tammy? I might have to mod you up. I might have to mod you up. I don't think you did anything. You know, I don't know what happened, man. Sometimes people get trigger happy and things happen. But yeah. I saw some of Charlie's memorial and the white supremacists, you know, they was dog whistling. They was up there saying, "Oh man, the enemy, the light always defeat the dark." That was a code word for saying white folks will defeat black. Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? We got to recognize the enemy. Light will defeat the dark. But the whole time, Charlie lost his life by somebody. He lost his life. It was somebody from his own community who unalived Charlie. Black folks had nothing to do with that. So the enemy lives within. The enemy lives within your own community. Some of your biggest enemies are your own people. Ain't got nothing to do with black folks. Leave us up out of that. XL Pro. You already know what to do, bro. See, when you do $red 1803, you got to do a lowercase r and then 1803. It's a lowercase r, red lowercase r, 1803, $ lowercase. You know the rest. Hit the like button. You are tapped into one of the best in the game. It's your player upon the Red Supreme. Let's break down some of this blatant hypocrisy. Now, while they're talking about the light will defeat the dark and we got to recognize the enemy, they're talking about themselves, but they're dog whistling to white supremacists to rally everybody up to get on this anti-black stuff when we had nothing to do with Charlie's unaliving, absolutely nothing to do with it. None. No, Charlie's funeral was yesterday, man, and it was I believe it was in Arizona. And listen, people wanted me to do a reaction, but I listen, I'm not going to say anything negative. I'm not going to react to somebody's memorial. I'm not going to do that. I have class. Now, I will hold Charlie accountable for the things that he said, no doubt. Like one of the biggest lies that Charlie Kirk said, that he said that Trayvon Martin was hunting George Zimmerman at 2:00 in the morning. That was a bold-faced lie. Charlie should have lost all credibility when he told that bold-faced lie. Seriously. He flipped it, he spent it, and said that somehow Trayvon Martin was on the hunt for he was on the hunt for George Zimmerman at 2:00 in the morning, when in reality it was the other way around, the complete opposite. Charlie Kirk told a bold-faced lie and people ran with it. That man credibility should have been destroyed right there the moment that he fixed his mouth to tell that bold-faced lie. Let's get into this clip right here. This is Nick Fuentes, though.
Rule number 1, carry a gun at all times. Rule number 2, about carrying a gun.
Welcome back to another base lore video. I'm the lore man. And guys, listen, they'll tell you crime is down and everything.
Sure, we're safe in our daily lives without continuously carrying.
Outside after dark, and you know that's a lie. You'll get murdered on a subway train. But guys, if you're done being gaslit about reality, smash that like button.
That's just like saying white supremacy is dead when we know it's not. You have all these Nazis and white nationalist groups. The Aryan Brotherhood still lives. The Nazis still live. You have all different types of groups of white supremacists throughout this country. But of course, they're gonna deny that and say that racism doesn't exist. See, they want to highlight crime in the country, but they never want to highlight the criminals. They never want to highlight the criminal activity in their own community. They refuse to do it.
Hit subscribe. Stick around. I'm dropping tons of Nick clips, 4 or 5 clips a day. This is the raw truth they don't want you to hear. I'm going to play this clip uninterrupted, and we'll dive into it after. Let's get into it.
The last 2 months, I've been attending most streams and slowly been pushing my wife further to the right. As two 23-year-olds, how do we continue to make sure we're safe in our daily lives without continuously carrying? DLDR constantly surrounded by African Americans that have no problem killing.
Move away from them. Well, here's what I would say. Carry a gun. Here's like my survival guide, okay? Nick's declassified survival guide. Okay, we had to say it there because for the joke, okay? Ned's declassified school survival. If you like that, okay, we can't make jokes like that. That's not.
See, they forget about the fact that it was a white guy that unalived 3 police officers in Pennsylvania. It was a white guy who unalived those innocent children in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That was a white guy. It was a white guy who unalived Charlie Kirk. These were, when you think about the assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life, those were white men. They're not black people. See, you can highlight crime in the black community all you want while ignoring the criminal activity in your own community. The hypocrisy. Bless the like button. Let's get back to the content. $ red 1803. Make sure that you support this show.
Appropriate. That's not appropriate. That's racist. I get that. I disavow. I apologize. It's terrible. Nick's declassified survival guide. Here's some tips, okay? Rule number 1, carry a gun at all times. Rule number 2, about carrying a gun. This is what they'll tell you at a concealed carry class. You take any kind of class on firearms, and you should. This is what they will tell you. The biggest problem with carrying a gun, the way that it can make you less safe, is that it gives you a false sense of security. Any firearms expert will tell you the same thing.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like a lot of people think because they're strapped that now it is good to have protection. That's not what I'm saying. It is good to have it, but it does give people a false sense of security because a lot of times, you will see a guy with a gun on him and he'll think that he's invincible because he has a gun. Hey, homie, other people have guns too. I know a lot of people. One of my closest friends died with a gun on him. Somebody shot him and he didn't have time to get to his gun. So whoever's the quickest on the draw will get the ups on the other person. Now, being strapped and having a gun to protect yourself is a beautiful thing, but don't think for 1 second that you're invincible because you're strapped and you have a gun. You got to be smarter than that. They didn't stop making guns once they started. They didn't stop making guns once they made yours. You got other people that strapped as well. So be mindful of that. But at the same time, protect yourself at all times. Protect yourself at all costs. Let's get back to the content, though. Bless the like button. It ain't nothing.
Best way to survive a deadly encounter is to escape one, is to never find yourself in one. And if you find yourself in one, to de-escalate, to escape, to get away. Okay? So a lot of people think, oh, I got a gun, and then they go looking for trouble. Then they turn off their radar. They turn off their situational awareness. So act as though you're not carrying. Carry at all times, act as though you're not carrying. And by that I mean, avoid dangerous situations. What's dangerous? Certain neighborhoods, certain major thoroughfares and intersections, certain times a day, certain days.
When he's talking about dangerous neighborhoods, that's a code word for ghettos with black people. But what about these sundown towns? Those are dangerous neighborhoods as well. You have innocent black people that's been unaligned in these sundown towns who did nothing to nobody. Their skin was their sin. And unfortunately, some of these people lost their lives just going to a gas station in a sundown town to get some gas. Stopping at a convenience store in the sundown town for whatever reason. You have tons of black people across the country who have lost their lives in these sundown towns in Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, Georgia, and the list goes on. But it's mighty funny that they never talk about the criminals in their own community. There's a lot of mass shooters in the white community. There's a lot of serial killers in the white community. There's a lot of drug use in the white community. There's a lot of white supremacist gangs in the white community. White people have a long history of violence in this country. And if you don't believe me, study the history for yourself. Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk. Neither one of these guys will call out their people for the evil they do. All of their smoke is for black people, none for their own. If Charlie Kirk spent more time paying attention to the threat of violence that was coming from his own community, that was coming from his own people, maybe Charlie would still be alive today. But Charlie ignored the dangers coming from Charlie ignored danger coming from his own people. And unfortunately, he paid with his life because he wasn't paying attention to the criminals and the danger coming from his own people. He ignored that and focused all of his attention on black folks.
Is the week. So like here in Chicago, we all know Labor Day and Memorial Day weekend are so violent. So you don't want to find yourself out and about after dark, Labor Day and Memorial weekend. Friday, Saturday, just forget about it. Avoid. We all know in Chicago, when you're on 290, do not get off in the west side. Basically from Austin until maybe Damon or Western, do not get off the highway. No-go zone. South side, forget it, other than maybe Hyde Park. So know the no-go zones. Be aware of your surroundings. Try to avoid being out past midnight in the problem areas. That situational awareness. Just be alert. When you're in your car at a red light, in traffic, be on high alert. Don't be on your phone. Be aware of your surroundings. When you're walking by yourself or with a group, don't have your headphones in. Don't be looking at your phone. Keep your head on a swivel. If you see something that doesn't make you feel good, get out of Dodge. Your gut is probably right. Trust your gut. So if you see a character that you don't like, keep your eyes on them and try and peel out of there as quickly as you can. If you're in traffic, leave a little room in front of your car in case you need to make an exit. If a homeless person approaches you, do not engage. That's the biggest mistake I see people make, people that aren't from the city. A homeless person will come up to them and they will turn, make eye contact, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't." Nope, stick and move, stick and move. You see,
I agree with some of the things that he's saying, because even black people have to pay attention to this, because yes, unfortunately, we have to value our safety as well. So it ain't just white folks. This is just overall, this is self-awareness, being conscious. Pay attention to your surroundings. Stay off your phone. Keep your head on the swivel and stay off that damn phone and keep it moving. Protect yourself at all costs. It's all about your safety. You want to get back home to your family. Bless the like button. It ain't nothing. Moderators, drop that Cash App in the chat.
coming at you, keep them in your peripheral vision, but don't make eye contact and just bolt. Ignore, turn up the volume, get the fuck away. But your long-term play, your short-term to long-term play is to move to a neighborhood where you don't have to deal with that. Move to a safe.
We all know that a white person is, for the most part, will off another white person, just like for the most part, a black person is gonna off another black person. That's the reality. Most people unalive one another. Lions unalive one another. They go to war with each other. So hopefully we have a better understanding of what's going on so that we can protect ourselves at all times. Hit the like button. Let's get back to the content. Nick Fuentes never calls out the criminals from his own community. The hypocrisy.
White neighborhood. If you have a family, just get away. That's my advice. But your long-term play, your short-term to long-term play is to move to a neighborhood where you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, Gail, I'm gonna mod you up over here. Yes. You're definitely you can mod. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna mod you up, Gail. That's what we're gonna do. Let's continue.
To a safe white neighborhood. If you have a family, just get away. That's my advice to you. But it's not easy, but it's simple. Simple rules. Thank God I've never been in a confrontation like that, altercation. And I credit that to the fact that I'm just lucky, but also I make my own luck. Because it's a game of odds. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, something bad can happen. But if you avoid the wrong places at the wrong times, you don't have to roll the dice as much. And so that's how you make your own luck. You don't find yourself rolling for your life every time. So I don't go out late at night. I don't go to certain parts of the city. I pay attention. I look around. I have no shame about sticking and moving. You see somebody you don't like, get away from them. It doesn't matter if it's obvious. Just get away hastily. Don't panic. That's the other thing. Do not panic ever, but get away. But how to make sure you're safe without carrying? Well, you should carry. And how do you make sure you're safe? Just know your surroundings. Be smart. Any expert would tell you the exact same thing. When you walk into a place, know the exits. Be aware of your surroundings. Do a check every few minutes, Keep your head on a swivel. I see so many people just have their head up their ass. They're just not paying attention. In traffic, in a restaurant, walking down the street, they're like, la, la, la. I remember I was out not too long ago for dinner and a movie in the city. It wasn't a date, but I was with, I was actually third wheeling. Not going to say with who. It's kind of funny story, actually. But
see, it's mighty funny that, when you think about people in today's society, they want to label, they're trying to compare Charlie Kirk to Martin Luther King. And Martin Luther King wasn't going around denigrating and disrespecting people the way that Charlie Kirk did, right? Every time a black person was unalived by a police officer, Charlie Kirk justified it. So in other words, Charlie Kirk upheld the system of white supremacy. He justified police brutality as long as it was a white police officer victimizing somebody black. Charlie Kirk upheld that system. If you ask Charlie a question about Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, All these people, all these black people who were unalived by white supremacists or police officers, Charlie Kirk justified it. So it said a lot about his character. You understand his mentality. That's white supremacy. Black people are always black people are always guilty, and white people had the right to stand their ground. Charlie Kirk never called it for what it was. Charlie Kirk made it his job to justify a white police officer when they harmed or unalived a black person. Charlie said it was justified. Charlie never held his people accountable for what they did to us. He's not going to do it. It's not in his nature.
I was with some people in the city. We got dinner. We saw a movie. I think it was literally Memorial Day weekend, and we were downtown. We were actually, I think, in River North, which is not a safe place. And I'm with these people. They're not from the city. They don't hang out in the city. We get out of the movie. It's like 1 a.m. on fucking Memorial Day weekend in River North on like a Friday or Saturday night. And I'm walking with these people, and they're like, la, 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 la. They're just like talking and chatting. They're like, And me, I'm like literally like, I wasn't even talking because I was just in like Jack Bauer mode.
Make sure that you guys, hey man, make sure that you guys hit the like button if you haven't already. Show some love to the show. You already know. Let's get those likes up so that this live stream can get in the algorithm. Let's do it, family. We ain't playing no games with them. We're going to get straight to it. Let's do it.
I was in straight up Jack Bauer. I'm like looking around. I'm walking quickly. I'm like, let's just get out of here. This is like an extraction mission. This is like a video game mission, like defend the package. Escort this person to the safe house. It was literally like a video game. There's like 2 dots on my screen, red dots everywhere. I'm looking around. So people just don't pay attention. That's why people get victimized, because they don't pay attention. You have to pay attention.
And that's
what do you have to say about Charlie? Maybe if Charlie was paying more attention to his people instead of demonizing black folks, maybe he would have saw the threat of violence. Maybe he would have saw danger from 100 miles away. Who knows? Right? It's unfortunate what happened to him, but at the same time, Charlie's career was based on denigrating and demonizing black folks in the black community. That's how Charlie made his money. That's how he gained popularity. Let's be honest here, family. Show some love. You already know what it is. It's Red Supreme. Support the damn game. Support the truth.
Being alive. I don't like knives lodged in my throat. So I don't go near black people. And I understand perfectly well. I like being alive. I don't like knives lodged in my throat. So I don't go near black people. And I understand perfectly well there are a lot of black people that are really good people. I'm not going to roll the dice. What if I'm wrong? I'd rather.
We can say I'm not going to go around white people. Maybe they're racist. Maybe they're white supremacists. Not all white people are white supremacists, but I'm not going to roll the dice. I'm not going to take a chance. It works both ways, Nick. It actually worked both ways, buddy. Make sure that you guys hit the like button and support the show, family. This is Nick Fuentes talking about the black community. Right back at you, buddy.
I like being alive. I don't like knives lodged in my throat. So I don't go near black people. And I understand perfectly well there are a lot of black people that are really good people. I'm not going to roll the dice. What if I'm wrong? I'd rather be alive. I'd rather be alive and too racist than dead and not racist enough.
So let's deal with this guy right here. Vincent said this. He said, you know who calls Charlie a white supremacist? Someone who doesn't watch any of his content. I watch plenty of Charlie's content. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this view. He actually said, I don't see color. I see content and character. No, that's a lie. And I'm going to tell you why that's a lie. Every time a black person was unalived by a police officer, Charlie justified it. Let me prove how wrong you are. When a black person was harmed by a police officer or a suspected white supremacist, Charlie always justified it. You know what Charlie said about Trayvon Martin? Charlie told a bold-faced lie and said that Trayvon Martin was hunting George Zimmerman down at 2:00 in the morning. Charlie told a bold-faced lie. Charlie should have lost all credibility right there. There was a 911 call. George Zimmerman used to be a security guard. Trayvon Martin was walking home from the store. George Zimmerman started stalking and following Trayvon Martin. He made a 911 call. They told George Zimmerman, stand down. Stop following Trayvon Martin. This is not your jurisdiction. Stand down. George Zimmerman disobeyed a direct order from law enforcement. Charlie told a bold-faced lie. He lied on a 17-year-old kid. Charlie fixed his mouth to say that Trayvon Martin somehow was stalking and following George Zimmerman while hunting Zimmerman down at 2:00 in the morning. That's one of the biggest lies that Charlie ever told. Clearly, Charlie was a racist. And you want to know what else Charlie said? Charlie said that Juneteenth was a BS holiday. It wasn't worth celebrating. It was nonsense. When we all know that Juneteenth was celebrated because black people on Juneteenth celebrated their freedom. If somebody has you in captivity for 300 plus years, you're going to celebrate your freedom. And then when you think about the fact that the slaves fought in the war, they're highly responsible for the North winning that war against the South, the black men who signed up to be in that war. Then when you think about all the free labor that the slaves gave to this country, countless inventions that the slave master took credit for. So Juneteenth was a celebration of our freedom and everything we built in America. Charlie Kirk fixed his mouth to say that it was a trash holiday and it's not worthy of supporting. It's not worthy of celebrating. And you want to tell me that Charlie's not a white supremacist? You mean to tell me that Charlie isn't biased towards black people? You're delusional, but I expect for you to say stuff like that. See, I listened to a lot of things that Charlie said. He also said that the only reason that blacks get jobs in corporate America is because of DEI. Now, you can't have it both ways, Charlie. Charlie said that in one breath, he said blacks was in poverty, blacks were struggling. But in the same sentence, he said that blacks was getting these jobs that whites can't get. Blacks who are not qualified were getting jobs that overqualified white people couldn't get. And the only reason that blacks get these jobs is because of DEI. It's not because they're intelligent. It's not because they're competent. He also fixed his mouth to say, well, if I get on a plane and I see a black pilot, I have to question his credentials. I don't know if he's qualified to fly this plane. Let me tell you something, homie. The black pilots got to take the same test that the white pilots test, because when you're flying a plane, you're responsible for many people's lives. So they're not going to lower the standards for a black person to become a pilot, especially when everybody's lives is in your hand. And it's your job to get those people to where they got to go safe in one piece. So don't sit up here and tell me Charlie wasn't a white supremacist. I'm judging Charlie I'm judging Charlie based on what he said, not based on how I feel. Let's go.
Simple enough.
Welcome back to another Base Lore video. I'm the Lore Man.
Being alive. I don't like knives lodged in my throat. So I don't go near black people. And I understand perfectly well there are a lot of black people that are really good people. I'm not going to roll the dice. What if I'm wrong? I'd rather be alive. I'd rather be alive and too racist than dead and not racist enough. Is that simple enough?
Welcome back to another Base Lore video. I'm the Lore Man.
See, that's how I know you don't watch Charlie. For you to say that I don't watch Charlie, every time Charlie was asked a question, how do you feel about this black person being unalive by a police officer? Charlie justified it. He justified the death of Trayvon Martin. He justified George Floyd. He justified the death of Breonna Taylor. And the list goes on. So it's clear to see that you don't listen to Charlie Kirk. I'm judging Charlie based on what he said, not based on how I feel. So it's obvious that you don't watch Charlie, or maybe you're just in denial about the things that he said. Because maybe you're here to uphold white supremacy and police brutality yourself. That's what it's looking like, buddy.
And guys, look at this. This is what they don't want you to see. People are dying. Neighborhoods are destroyed. The media keeps screaming racist if you even open your eyes. Nick Fuentes is calling it out like it is.
How come you're not calling out the racists in your own community? How come you're not calling out that white guy? Listen, this is white culture. That white guy, he unalived innocent children in Minneapolis. That was a white guy. He represents white culture. The white guy who unalived Charlie Kirk, he represents white culture. The white men who tried to unalive Donald Trump, they represent white culture. The white man who unalived President JFK, he represents white culture. See, when white people commit crimes, they separate them and say they were liberals and they were mentally challenged. They never connected to white culture. But anytime you see a black person commit crime, the first thing they do is connect that to black culture because they're biased and they're hypocrites. White people refuse to hold the criminals accountable from their own community. They won't do it.
People are afraid to survive because they're afraid of being called names at this point. But guys, make sure you drop a like, drop a comment. We're going to get into this clip of Nick Fuentes discussing his black fatigue and how he's tired of America. I'm going to play this uninterrupted because it is important to get Nick's message out there. Watch closely because if you ignore, you're gambling with your...
Listen, if you're going to come up in here and deny the fact that Charlie told a bold-faced lie and say that, and he said that Trayvon Martin was hunting George Zimmerman down, when in reality it was the complete opposite. If you're not going to be real enough to admit that, I'm gonna boot you from my chat, because at this point you're not being honest and you're just trolling. Clearly that's what Charlie said. We all know that George Zimmerman was stalking Trayvon Martin. There's a 911 call that told George Zimmerman to stand down, stop following Trayvon. George Zimmerman he disobeyed a direct order that came from law enforcement. Charlie Kirk told a bold-faced lie and made it seem like Trayvon Martin was stalking George Zimmerman, when in reality George Zimmerman was stalking Trayvon Martin. Charlie told a bold-faced lie, but of course you're not going to hold him accountable. White people are not going to hold him accountable. They gave Charlie a pass for telling a bold-faced lie on a teenager. Charlie should have lost all credibility after he told that bold-faced lie.
Live at this point. Let's get into the clip.
And I said earlier in the year, very bluntly, very honestly, I said, this is how I feel. This is how a lot of people feel. We don't want to be around black people anymore. We don't want to live near them. We don't want to associate.
You never wanted to live around black people, and that's fine. We don't need to live around you. When black people build Black Wall Street, when blacks build Black Wall Street, we said, okay, we don't need to live around white folks. We'll build our own communities. We'll separate from white folks. What did the white supremacists do? They bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma. White militias, white mobs, white supremacists came to Tulsa, Oklahoma and destroyed it, burnt it down. Why did the white supremacists do that? Because they feared the progress of blacks in this country, so they burnt the whole city down. Wilmington, North Carolina, that's another community that was built by blacks. White people sabotaged it. They destroyed it. Ocoee, Florida. White supremacists burned that town down because they didn't want blacks to go out there and vote. This is 1920. Ocoee, Florida is right outside Orlando. Citrus was a big thing in Florida. So the blacks who lived in Florida, they were sharecroppers. And if you owned the land, you had a lot of citrus, and a lot of blacks in that area got rich and wealthy because of that. What the white people did was they burned down that land because they wanted to remove the blacks who lived there because they wanted to stop black folks from getting wealthy. That's why they sabotaged and burned down Ocoee, Florida, and unalived hundreds of black people on that same particular day. July Perry was a sharecropper. He was a sharecropper, right? And study July Perry, Ocoee, Florida. Study the history. I'm not making this up. They unalived this man for trying to educate his people, teaching his people how to become sharecroppers, teaching them how to get out and vote, teaching them how to organize so that they can get out there and vote. The white supremacists got so jealous that they unalived July Perry because he owned too much land and he was teaching other blacks how to do the same thing. They feared the progress. White supremacists feared the progress of blacks in Ocoee, Florida, so they sabotaged, burned down a home community, and unalived hundreds of black people. It was a massacre on that particular day.
With them, when we see them coming, we go the other way. I've been saying this throughout the year. And what I've noticed is that increasingly people are agreeing with me. That chorus of woke.
He's ignorant. Now he's telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about because I don't watch Charlie Kirk. Clearly, he doesn't watch Charlie Kirk. And if he does, he's in denial. He's in denial about the vax. Charlie Kirk told a bold-faced lie and said that Trayvon Martin was hunting George Zimmerman at 2:00 in the morning. But you'll never admit the truth, and I understand why. You're not intelligent. You're not smart. You're just trolling with no facts to back up anything you're saying. I'm going to show you the video. I'm going to show you the video right after this Nick Fuentes clip when Charlie Kirk justified the unaliving of Trayvon Martin. And he said that George Zimmerman had the right to stand his ground when George Zimmerman was the one stalking and following Trayvon Martin.
People saying that's racist. You can't say that. It's becoming quieter and fewer and less frequent. And the reason is because we see stuff like this. We're justified.
I already proved you wrong, homie. I've showed the video on my channel several times. I played the video yesterday, 2 days before that. So I've already proved you wrong. Anybody who saw the video for themselves, anybody who watched that video knows that I'm telling the truth. And let's take it a step further. We know that either one, you're in denial or you're just not smart as you claim to be because you haven't watched Charlie Kirk's videos to make a proper judgment because you're being biased. Because if you was real, if you studied the content, if you watched the content, you would say, well, damn, you are right. Charlie Kirk did lie on Trayvon Martin, and he told a bold-faced lie on Trayvon Martin. All you got to do is watch the video for yourself. But then again, you're not honest. You're nothing but a troll.
Is there a better example than this of the axiom that around black people, you cannot relax? That's all she did. How could she have avoided this situation? Literally, do not turn your back to a black man. That's how you could have avoided it. And by the way, any boomer dad, any boomer uncle would see their young daughter, young niece sit in front of a person like that with no self-awareness, and they would grimace, they would cringe. And if she got lucky and she got up that day and walked out of that train, they would be called a racist for that reaction. But today was not her lucky day.
What's the excuse for that white guy who shot up that grocery store in Buffalo, New York? At the Tops grocery store. Unalived 10 black people. This white guy pulled out an assault rifle and unalived 10 random black people who never done anything to him. They never saw this white guy a day in their life. He unalived 10 black people because he felt like it. But of course, you're not going to talk about that. Go look at the story. Tops grocery store, 2023, Buffalo, New York. Racist white guy walks in there with an assault rifle, unloads the rifle, unalives 10 black people. Same thing in 2023, Jacksonville, Florida. Another white supremacist walks into a Dollar General in Jacksonville, Florida, pulls out an assault rifle, unalives several black people, all based on the fact that they were black and for no other reason. But of course, Nick Fuentes is not going to hold his people accountable. No, he's not going to do that. He's too damn busy focused on black criminals to the point to where he's not calling out the white criminals from his own community. The president that you love so much, Nick Fuentes. Let me ask this guy in the comment section who tried to unalive Donald Trump on 3 different occasions. It wasn't black people. It was a white man who did it. But you're not holding the white criminals accountable. The white criminals tried to unalive the president. A white criminal unalived Charlie Kirk. A white criminal unalived innocent children in Minneapolis, Minnesota earlier this month. A white criminal unalived 3 police officers in Pennsylvania this month. A white criminal was the one responsible for shooting. Listen, a white guy in Florida at Florida State University earlier this year, it was like around springtime. It was a white guy who shot multiple people on that college campus, Florida State University. The Colorado shooting that just took place earlier this month, it was a white guy that was responsible for that. But we have no reason to look at white people like they're criminals. White people have a reason to look at us like we're criminals. But even though we know that white people commit violent crimes, we know that white men commit acts of terrorism. It's mighty funny that we don't hold the white criminals accountable for the crimes they commit. Nick Fuentes only wants to talk about the black criminals while ignoring the white criminals. The hypocrisy is real, folks.
daughter, young niece, sit in front of a person like that with no self-awareness, and they would grimace, they would cringe. And if she got lucky and she got up that day and walked out of that train, they would be called a racist for that reaction. But today was not her lucky day. He was not one of the good ones. She paid with her life. It was not her lucky day.
Yeah, I'm finna mod you up, Scoop. I'm getting ready. I'm gonna mod you up, buddy. You already know you got a wrench over here, Scoop.
When you survive an encounter with an erratic black man on public transit and you leave with scars or a homicide charge, a manslaughter charge, or maybe you just leave a little shaken up. Nope. Today was the unlucky day when she encountered one of those ones.
What about those children in Minneapolis who got unalived by that crazy white man who shot them for no reason? These were innocent children at a Catholic school. You have to be a sick individual to unalive innocent children for no reason. You got to be a sick individual to do that. The president you love so much, who tried to unalive the president, that you love so much on three different occasions. It was a white man who did it, but you're not holding them accountable.
It was the unlucky day when it cost her her life, and she is now dead forever. And her loved ones are without their daughter, sister, niece. I don't know her family tree. How could it have been avoided if she was racist? We were led to believe that any level of prejudice, any level of pattern recognition is the highest evil. Not just evil, but the highest evil. Oh, you're racist? I can't even be in the same room with you. Oh, you did a double take? You're looking over your shoulder because a black man is behind you? That is systemic racism, a microaggression. That is internalized racism. How dare you think that? How dare you react that way? I don't even want to know you. I don't want to be your friend. That's the.
I'm gonna hit you, Josh, man. I've been meaning to hit you, man. So I'm gonna hit you today, and we're gonna chop it up, bro. You know, shout out to my dog, Josh. You know,
it's worse apparently now than being a murderer, barely than being a rapist, a terrorist. And yet, if she were a little bit more racist, she'd be alive.
What about those black people at the Tops grocery store in Buffalo, New York? Maybe they should have called the police the moment they saw that white guy in the parking lot. Or maybe the police would have never, maybe it would have took them too long to show up to save everybody's lives. But what if the black people said, let's call the police because you got this weird white guy in the parking lot in this black community? Maybe if black people were aware of that, they could have called the police and said, hold on, this guy has no business being here. He's suspicious. It looks like he's carrying a weapon. Maybe they would still be alive if they looked at it like that themselves. I don't know, Nick.
A little bit more racist, her parents would have their daughter. If she saw that guy and turned and walked the other way, she'd be alive. If she said, I won't turn my back to him, I'll sit behind him, I'll sit facing him, she might be still alive. But what are we to do when the lesson over and over and over again is safest bet, don't be near them? Safest bet. And who wants to gamble with their life? Your safest bet is don't be.
I just gave you a wrench, Scoop. So shout out to Scoop.
Be in a situation where they will also be there. Next safest bet.
What about the black student who just got hung on the Mississippi campus? I know what you're going to say. Well, a white guy got hung too. Listen, black men don't commit crimes like that. We don't hang people with nooses. We don't hang people from trees. Those are not, black men don't commit crimes. Black person just going to take a gun and do what he do, or he might pick up a knife, but he's not going to hang somebody from a tree. Crimes like that are committed by white supremacists. Now you say, well, it happened to a white guy. Well, study the history of this country, especially in Mississippi. What did the white supremacists do to the N-word lovers? Well, they made an example out of the N-word lovers. They made an example out of them. Look at Mississippi burning. That was based on a true story. The white people who assisted the blacks during that time were unalived as well. They were hung. They were lynched. White people made an example out of the N-word lovers. So you're not going to deflect and say, well, we understand that a black student got hung, but it happened to a white person too. You're not going to deflect. We already know who commit crimes like that in this country. It's pretty damn obvious. Let's not play games here. Let's get some contributors and supporters on that Cash App. Bless that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel.
See them, get away. And walk the other way, she'd be alive than being a murderer, barely than being a rapist, a terrorist. And yet, if she were a little bit more racist, she'd be alive. If she were a little bit more racist, her parents would have their daughter. If she saw that guy and turned and walked the other way, she'd be alive. If she said, I won't turn my back to him, I'll sit behind him, I'll sit facing him, she might be still alive. But what are we to do when the lesson over and over and over again is safest bet, don't be near them? Safest bet. And who wants to gamble with their life? Your safest bet is don't be in a situation where they will also be there. Next safest bet, if you see them, get away.
Well, we could say that about white people, man. Do you know that Dylan Roof, a white guy, unalived 10 innocent black people at a church, and they welcomed Dylan Roof in his church? Now, if they would have said, no white guys allowed, and if that church would have had security, they could have saved the lives of many people that day. If they would have said, no, he's a racist white devil and he can't come to this church, maybe those black people would still be alive today if they thought that. No, but they were being nice. Black people are so accepting. They accept everyone. Black folks in Charleston, South Carolina in 2015 didn't realize that they allowed the devil to come into their church. They didn't realize that at that time. And unfortunately, they paid the price with their life because Dylan Roof was a racist white supremacist. He was a devil in the flesh. Maybe if the black people looked at him and said, hold on, why is this white guy coming to our church? Maybe they would still be alive today. They should have closed the door on him. They should have called law enforcement. They should have had security. Make it make sense. Make sure that you guys bless that like button. It ain't nothing.
Safest bet. And who wants to gamble with their life? Your safest bet is don't be in a situation where they will also be there. Next safest bet, if you see them, get away. It doesn't matter if they notice. It doesn't matter if it's offensive or insulting. If that's your safest bet, who can argue that we shouldn't behave this way? Who would argue that you should risk your life and get stabbed in the neck for no reason like her or like Austin Metcalf because you don't want to be insensitive, because you'd hate to be racist?
See, everything that Nick is saying about black people, we can say about them. We can say the same thing about them. Oh, we could say the same thing. You never seen, listen, as violent as you claim that blacks are, you don't see black people going to churches full of white people to unalive innocent white people just because they're white. Unaliving white people for praying at church. You don't see black people committing crimes like that. But we have seen church bombings in Birmingham, Alabama. White men bombing churches in Birmingham, Alabama. 2015, Dylan Roof shot up a church, unalived 10 innocent black people. You don't see black men shooting up churches full of innocent people just because they're white. But you do see white men shooting up people in churches just because they're black. But it's mighty funny that you don't want to hold the criminals accountable from your own community. The hypocrisy coming from Nick Fuentes. Clearly, Nick is a white supremacist. Clearly, Nick is a racist. Now, he'll say things here and there to try to cover it up, to try to make it seem like he's not a racist. But in reality, we know what Nick Fuentes is. It's clear as day. It's clear as looking out of the window. He's a racist. He's a wannabe white supremacist. Nick Fuentes is a wannabe white supremacist. Clearly, the man is a racist.
your life and get stabbed in the neck for no reason, like her or like Austin Metcalf, because you don't want to be insensitive, because you'd hate to be racist. How's that going to make the super predator feel? Or, unfortunately, how would that make an ordinary black person feel? I care about my life more. And I'm a single man. I can't imagine what it's like for a family. God forbid you're a man with your girlfriend. God forbid you're a man with your wife, with your young children. At that point, you have an obligation to get away. You're going to gamble the life of you, your spouse, and your children because you don't want to be insensitive. You don't want to hurt their feelings.
Well, black people should have thought the same way. The moment that Dylan Roof walked up to that church in Charleston, South Carolina in 2015, they should have said, "You're white. You have no business being here. We don't feel safe with you being here," just based on the history of whites in this country. But black people being nice, black people being so accepting, they allowed Dylan Roof to walk into that church, and the guy had a gun on him the whole time, and he pulled that gun out and unalived those innocent people at that church in Charleston, South Carolina. Maybe if they would have looked at the situation and said, "Hold on, why is this white guy at our church? No, you can't come here." They should have closed the doors. Maybe they would still be alive today if they had security, or if they judged him for being a white devil that he actually was. Because clearly, Dylan Roof was a devil. The man was possessed by Satan. For you to walk into a church, then you pull out a gun and unalive innocent people who are praying on a Sunday, you have to be possessed by Satan to do something like that.
You don't want to be considered a prejudiced person, whatever that even means. Is it worth your life? Me, easy, no. You know, I like being alive. I don't like knives lodged in my throat. So I don't go near black people. And I understand perfectly well. There are a lot of black people that are not violent, and I understand perfectly well there are a lot of black people that are really good people. I'm not going to roll the dice. What if I'm wrong?
Well, there's a lot of nice white people, and all white people are not white supremacists. But if I go to a bar, if I go to a place and there's white people, maybe I should just leave. I don't want to roll the dice because maybe they're white supremacists. I don't know. See, in Charleston, South Carolina, they didn't realize that Dylan Roof was a racist white supremacist. They rolled the dice and accepted him. And when he came in there, he pulled out a gun and unalived innocent people. Maybe if they judged him for the devil that he was, those people would still be living today. But they rolled the dice and embraced him, and they accepted this white guy in their church, when in reality, he had no business being at that black church in the first place. Huh?
I'd rather be alive. I'd rather be alive and black people that are really good people. I'm not going to roll the dice. What if I'm wrong? I'd rather be alive. I'd rather be alive and too racist than dead and not racist enough. Is that simple enough? Is that simple enough for you? And that just has to do with personal survival. Who wants to live near these people? We see it. They take the Walmarts out of the neighborhood. First, they take the self-checkouts. They take the Walgreens, the McDonald's. They close the stores early. They put in place curfews, requirements for chaperones. Why? Because they fuck it all up. Because who's going to be at McDonald's at 2 a.m.? Because who's going to be after class tearing up McDonald's in a riot? Who's going to be at 7-Eleven stealing everything inside and ransacking the store? Who's going to be at Walmart going through the self-checkout and not scanning any of the items? And then they complain about food deserts. Really? Then they complain about redlining. It's not redlining, it's blacklining. We see what goes on. We see what accompanies the population. Crime, chaos, dishonesty.
Let's be real, man. The first people to commit crimes in America were white men. You know, white men are the leaders of crime and criminal activity in this country. The first street gangs of America were white Europeans, white men. The first drug dealers, the first drive-by shooters, these were white men. The first people to occupy these projects and ghettos were white men, European immigrants. Let's be honest about history. Hit the like button, family.
The idea that the rules don't apply, shamelessness, rudeness. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Wow. That's profound. That's the first time I've heard that clip. That really spoke to me. I don't know. That's the world they won't tell you about, guys. Nick's not afraid to say it. He's not afraid to say what everyone else is.
Ah, man, shut up. You're not talking about the violent crimes that your people commit. You're full of crap, and we know this. You're biased and you're full of crap. Now, I want to see where that guy is in the comments earlier. Listen, hopefully you guys didn't block him because he wasn't irritating me. You know, sometimes I let people come in here and they give me content. But he kept saying that you don't watch Charlie Kirk's videos. I said, yes, I do. That's how I know Charlie Kirk said that he told a bold-faced lie and said that Trayvon Martin was stalking and hunting George Zimmerman at 2 a.m. How do you think I know Charlie said that? Because I watched his content, and I'm not talking about a 1-minute clip. These were 30-minute videos, and I watched the whole video from start to finish. I heard what Charlie said.
Spring. Streets are unsafe. Common sense is racist. Survival is treated like a crime. Guys, wake up. Open your eyes. Don't be fooled by the lies. It's time we stay sharp, stay alive. Don't take the gamble anymore, like
All right.
Nick said.
We're gambling being around you guys. Look at those sundown towns in Mississippi, Alabama, sundown towns all across the country. It's funny that white people never hold their own people accountable. You would think that white men never commit crimes if you listen to these white people on these damn podcasts. If Charlie Kirk paid more attention to the danger that was lurking, and these are the people from his own community, if Charlie paid more attention to that, maybe Charlie would still be alive today. Because listen, nobody black wanted to unalive Charlie. White people wanted to unalive Charlie, and you can't blame it on liberals. It wasn't a liberal who unalived Charlie. It was a MAGA. It was a right-wing MAGA person who unalived Charlie. That makes it even worse. Not only was it a white guy who unalived Charlie, he was a right-wing MAGA supporter. So that makes it 10 times worse. It was his own people. Charlie's own people hated him. Black people might give their thoughts. They might do commentary. They might make content about Charlie Kirk. But black people didn't hate Charlie Kirk so much to the point to where they wanted to unalive him. But guess what? White people did hate Charlie so much to the point to where they did unalive him.
Guys, if you're ready to see the world for what it really is, check out more videos on my page. Hit that subscribe button. Only 25% of you are.
And we're going to keep the language clean on this channel, you guys. Like, I'm going to bring up Scoop, but make sure you guys are responsible and keep the language clean. We got to get this channel monetized. Hey, we're not going to make the same mistakes that we made on TV1. So we're going to do better over here. We're going to clean up the language. We're not going to use profanity. So I appreciate you for pulling on up. Let me drop the link for Scoop. Scoop, what it do, bro?
Oh man, salute to the chat. Salute to you, Red. Man, these fools will spin narratives any way to get their point across. Man, I don't know what this fool is talking about. What is he talking about? They going in stores scared of us. When the last time you heard of one of us pew-pewing up a Walmart? When the last time you heard one of us pew-pewing up a school? When the last time you heard one of us going into the job because we lost our job or got made fun of, and we just let everybody in there have it because we felt we can't get another job? That's his community. That's not ours. What is he talking about? Funny thing is, when is the last time you seen one of them live in our neighborhood and we did everything to get them out? They got a problem with us, not the other way around. They just like the Mexicans. They can live in our neighborhood. They can hang around with us. They can do all these things when it comes to us. But the funny thing is, when we try to do it, when we try to live comfortably where they're at, here comes the hate crime. Here comes And Red, I know you remember this. They was doing that in Palmdale and Lancaster, writing all kind of anti-black stuff on people's garage, spray painting on their streets, vandalizing their car. They didn't want us in Palmdale. They didn't want us in Lancaster. Everybody know them skinheads was out there thick in Palmdale and Lancaster. When
Yeah,
have they ever moved to where we're at and we ran them out based on their race?
right. It's a
Because
good point.
we don't like white folks. They project everything on us that they do to us. You can't spin that. I don't know what Nick is talking about. He telling lies. When the last time he went out and got to fear black people? How many black people hunting for him?
And I
How many
guarantee
out
you
here?
this. I guarantee you this, Scoop. I guarantee you Nick Fuentes has never been victimized by a black person a day in his life.
Yeah, maybe on the backside he got victimized, if you know what I mean. The way he's playing, you know what I'm saying? But ain't nobody out here pewing at him. He ain't ducking and dodging nothing. He ain't saying, "Oh, look at them, they over there looking at me, they gonna come attack." That's the narrative they all spin as though we some violent savages. Which is funny because that's the same thing they spun in slavery. They made us, they had drawings, cartoons, making us look like savage people, so we can't be trusted. They're not the same as us. You know, these people can't think. You know, they only use their frontal lobe. I've seen all the propaganda, all the mess that they tried to say about us. That's them. We didn't enslave them, they enslaved us. They took our land, stole our land. They use laws to take over land that belonged to us, to run us out of our neighborhoods. They came with mobs to get us out of our neighborhoods, burn our homes down. But it's funny, they not talking about none of that. We don't have a violent history. They do. And it's always against us. We don't have that. The only thing that we have is uprisings to that. Things that they did to us and we tried to fight back. He ain't talking about that either. So now all of a sudden, them folks is in danger. Now all of a sudden they being replaced. Now all of a sudden they got to watch out for the black boogeyman because you know the whites aren't safe anymore in America. Look what's happening to America. No, bro, no. Let's keep it a buck. Everything that's happened to this country is because of them. It ain't because of us. If the country going down, if Babylon is falling, it's because of them. They the one make the laws. They the one enforce the laws. They're the ones that have it just the way they want it. They have the court system set up the way they want it. They had these race soldiers set up the way they want it. We didn't have a hand in none of that. Our voice basically was shut out. That's what we have been fighting for, to have a voice. We don't have a voice in all of that. They did all of that. The economy, everything that's set up, that was set up by them. So if Babylon is falling and whites are in danger, they're endangered from their own people, not from black people. So they're going to sit up here and tell that lie and mess up things and then stick it on us. This fool just got his butt capped on live TV and they're going to try to blame that on us.
Yeah, hey Scoop, man, I was listening to the memorial. White people were saying, "Yes, we have to be prepared for the enemy, and the light will always defeat the dark." Another word for whites will defeat blacks. We need to look at blacks for the enemies that they are. I'm like, hold on, we had nothing to do with Unaliving Charlie. Why are you guys talking about us? They're trying to radicalize and mobilize white supremacists to commit violence against us. I've listened to it. I've heard what they were saying. They were literally trying to radicalize and mobilize these white supremacists when we had nothing to do with the Unaliving of Charlie. Not one black person sent Charlie a death threat. Not one black person made an attempt on his life. The people who hated Charlie came from his own community.
Exactly. You know what that tells me, Red? That tells me it's always been that way, and it's always stick the blame on us. Why you think black men is the number one men to get exonerated out of prison for crimes we didn't commit? Because they good at that. They have that system set up where they put us in a. See, this is what they don't want to tell, Red. They say these crime statistics and say that black men are the number one men being locked up. You know why? Because most black men know we don't have a chance in a court of law. So we take what's called plea deals. It doesn't mean that you're guilty. My attorney told me this. It doesn't matter whether you're guilty or innocent. The state requires that someone do the time for the crime. Now, when it comes to you, how much time do you want to do? You want to come home in the next couple of years, or you want to fight it and you lose and never come home at all?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what you as a man have to think of when you standing in a courtroom in front of that judge. You know, most likely they're going to use everything to convict you. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to get out in 2 or do you want to get out in 20?
And when you don't have money for a lawyer and everybody on the jury most of the people on the jury don't look like you and you know they're against you, you like, I'm not going to roll the dice. I'm going to just take 5 and come home. I'm not going to risk doing 40 or even worse, life in prison.
Exactly, because you know that's what's holding over your head. But as statistics show, to them, we were guilty. Because their mind is, well, why would you take a deal if you are innocent? Because we know the system is unjust. That's why. How are you going to fight an unjust system when the only thing you got in this world to give is your life? That's it. And they can take it right there in that courtroom with a bang of a gavel and you not never coming home again. Hell yeah, I'm taking that deal. I'm taking that deal all day if I got action at coming home. But this is what they use when they say we are violent people. Most black men that are in prison, most of us that are in prison aren't in prison for violent acts.
Right. Most black men are in there for non-violent crimes.
For non-violent crimes.
Most black men try to sell some weed or some work to make money, but these are non-violent crimes. But what they did was, with the crime bill, let's make the punishment for petty crimes. Let's make the punishment for petty crimes harsh. So then you remember this, you got guys who got caught with 2-3 grams of coke. Now you got to do 10, 15 years for a non-violent crime. That was crazy, but that was mass incarceration under the Clintons. And you remember that, Scoop? We doing all this time for non-violent crimes.
Hey, that's why they came up with the 3 strikes.
Yeah.
What did they say the 3 strikes law? When they first came out with that red, they said it's for violent criminals.
Right.
That's it. But the first man get locked up for what, stealing a slice of pizza or something like that?
Yeah.
I got a homeboy got struck out for stealing a carton of cigarettes, and they 3 struck his ass. I was locked down with him. That nigga was like, homie, I'm not never coming home. I'm like, for some cigarettes? I'm like, bro, that's wild. He said they first struck me. They said that was my 3rd strike. I'm like, so they passed it off as for violent criminals. All that was another way to keep sticking us in there, to feed the machine, to keep feeding that machine and keep us going in there just like slaves, Red. Just like slavery, modern day slavery, to keep them shackles on our ankles. That's what it was about. This man sitting up talking about we violent? No. 9 times out of 10, when they go to prison, it's for violent crimes. Because they done did something to their sister, their mama, they done cut up the whole family, pew-pewed everybody at a school. That's what they come in there for. But let them tell society, because it's coming out of a white man's mouth, white people believe it. My attorney told me that in a court of law, it has already been decided that a white person's testimony is more believable than a black person's testimony.
Yeah.
So white people tend to look at you and they're sitting on that jury that you're a liar, that everything you say is not the truth. But if somebody white says it, it's the truth. And we don't help it because, most, black people run the white people. See, the white people said it. The white people said it. You know it must be true because the white people said it. The white man said that. Like, really, bro? Come on, man. Yeah, come on. Man. Stop giving them credit that they don't deserve. Like I said, we built this country. They know it. They're trying to change that. They're trying to change history. They're trying to change everything to fit that the white man is supreme. Mm-hmm. And we are nothing but lowly slaves. We can't think for ourselves. We can't govern our own communities. And in some things, we don't think for ourselves. And some of us, we act like we still colonized. Yeah. But that's our problems, Red. That
Yeah, man.
doesn't boil over into the white community. When you go over there, them people don't live around us. You go over there, they got all the resources. Hell yeah, I'm gonna run over there to their stores. Hell yeah, I'm gonna run over there and get some of them resources because some of them resources belong to us, Red. So
Yeah,
don't get
man.
mad when you come in and I'm in your gym. Like, what this Negro does? I'm over here taking advantage of some of them resources. Put a gym over there where we at, and we won't have that problem. Put one of them nice grocery stores over there where we at. Put some of that good food, that healthy food over in my neighborhood, and I wouldn't be over here. But until you do, hell yeah, I'm gonna have my ass over here dipping and dabbing, dipping in and dipping out. Don't get mad because I'm over here in Westwood. Yep, I sure the hell am with my black ass riding all through Westwood, making y'all mad. Where he get that nice car from? Yep, because courtesy of y'all, because I'm dipping in and out of y'all's neighborhood. Now I'm gonna land it with that, Red.
Shout out to my man Scoop for pulling up and supporting the show, man. Yeah, man. Let me bless the cash app, man. I want to say shout out to my man Josh. Shout out to my man Josh for blessing the cash app. Shout out to my girl E Danielle for blessing the cash app. Let's get some more of you people to bless the cash app because this right here is a fresh start on my second channel that I've had. I've always had this channel, but I never used it. But we're gonna create content over here and we're gonna run the numbers up over here, man. So we're gonna keep it clean. Let me bring up AW1. AW1, what's good, my brother?
All right, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, my brother. You got the floor.
All right, cool. Yeah, man, the contradiction of this dude. And oh, by the way, before I go on my rant, shout out to that last brother that just spoke, Scoops. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he dropped the. I love it when he comes up. You can always put him first above me. Him and other sisters that be talking too. The ones I like Janet Jackson.
You talking about Miss Red?
There you go.
Okay, okay, for
No,
sure.
but she be dropping knowledge too. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, well that's why she rock
Yeah.
with me because she got sense and she got some
Oh, that's your
understanding.
lady. My bad.
Yeah, but
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, man. So you know what it is, bro. But you got the flow,
Yeah, knowledge. No, yeah, smart people come together.
right? Yeah,
But anyway, yeah, he what a complete contradiction of this fool. Like you just said, and Scoop just said, the only people that try to unalive him were other Caucasians.
yeah.
Oh, can you hear me, Red?
That's it. It wasn't us.
Yeah, it wasn't us. But he's just trying to start a race war. I mean, and to be fair, Charlie Kirk did the same thing. And, have you been hearing people lately say, "Oh no, that's not what he meant"? They try to justify this. This one lady, I don't know her name. She has like a bad face, and she was trying to justify what Charlie Kirk said about MLK. I was like, lady, that's nothing you can say that can justify what he said about MLK. You can try to pretty it up all you want. He said he was a bad person because he cheated on his wife, this and that, blah, 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 blah. That'll make you a bad person. Apparently Coretta was okay with it. Got over it. So we should be too.
Yeah, they tried to justify, like the one guy in the chat earlier kept trying to tell me, well, it's clear to see you don't watch Charlie. You're not listening to what Charlie has said. I said, listen, check this out, buddy. Check this out, buddy. Charlie said that he fixed his mouth to say that, well, Trayvon Martin was hunting George Zimmerman at 2:00 in the morning. So George Zimmerman had the right to stand his ground. That was self-defense. And that was a bold-faced lie. Trayvon
And against a 17-year-old child.
A 17-year-old kid was going to the store to get home. George Zimmerman started following him and stalking him. He called 911. They said, Zimmerman, stand down, quit following him. George Zimmerman disobeyed a direct order. But Charlie told a bold-faced lie and said, no, Trayvon Martin was guilty. He was stalking George Zimmerman. Listen, Charlie should have lost all credibility for telling that bold-faced lie.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I agree. And also, I mean, he should have lost credibility because literally, I don't know if you like he mentioned that white girl that got stopped. Not white girl. Yeah, the Ukrainian chick that got just stabbed.
Yeah,
what about the story of the 3 black folks that got killed in the same week?
Yeah,
by that white dude. I forgot his name.
I forget his name too, but you always know, my brother, they ignore the crimes that they people commit and they highlight everything we do while ignoring the nonsense they do.
Right. And I heard, and there's a story, like I said, I mentioned that this road rage issue that this black dude shot this teenage girl in the face. But the thing is, shout out to that family. They shut that down. Like, nah, don't make this a race thing. Because you're not going to use our daughter's story to control your narrative to get us mad at black folks.
Yeah.
That's just one bad. That's just one bad dude. And I agree with that. And shout out to them. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you this, Red. I dropped a little something in their cash in their GoFundMe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry, it wasn't a lot. And when I get paid, I'll start dropping you something in your cash app.
Well,
I got you saved.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. You want to give any last words before I pass the mic?
Absolutely. All I can say is, Red, man, just stay strong and stay woke.
Hey, man,
B1.
I appreciate you. I will do that. B1, my brother. Blessings to you. All right. Let me bring up yeah, man, we're gonna keep the language clean over here. We're gonna get monetized on this channel. We're gonna do things right over here. So I'm gonna bring up Dre. You got the flow, Dre.
Hey, what's good, family?
Chilling, brother.
It's obvious it's really so hypocritical. And I noticed what he did was try to, it's called like reverse psychology. He tried to make Trayvon Martin the victim and make George, he tried to make Trayvon Martin, the aggressor, and George Zimmerman
Right.
the victim. And that's nonsense. We should have debunked that, man. We should have just, no. He should have got cancer right there. And then what I'm seeing is they putting pictures beside him and Martin Luther King, and that's really assault with a deadly weapon on our intelligence. That's a no. He was nowhere near that league. He wasn't on that level. He wasn't even on the level with JFK, Abraham Lincoln. I'm saying, see, this is how they play with our intelligence. Like they did this with Barack Obama, putting Barack Obama with Dr. King. That is no comparison. That's like comparing apples to oranges. And my thing is, he should have been paying attention to happen in his own community. And I noticed they never ever hold their own people accountable. And see what I like about you, man, you hold everybody accountable. You hold them, Latinos, and you hold us accountable. You not biased. It's just like the thing is, where he never hold them accountable when they commit crimes. In the hood, you don't hear about no school shootings or none of that. But you hear about they going to these schools, unaliving children and all that as soft targets. But you don't hear about that in there. You don't hear about that among us. Do we have criminals? Do we have issues? Yes, we do. We have some degeneracy, and I don't condone that. But everybody has some degeneracy. Every race, but what they do is they like to highlight us. No, everybody has something. Do we have to work on it? Yes, we do. But worry about your own people, your own community, man. They made a resolution for them, but they ain't passed that George Floyd bill. And then I was looking at the situation, like a lot of Democrats were voting on it. Some of them voted on it, the resolution to honor him.
Yeah, they're trying to give Charlie a holiday. You know,
and these the same Democrats gonna come running in our face. See, I try to tell people they all in the same game. They play both sides of the fence. They love to play. They play these games on us because a lot of us are not really politically educated. That's what they do. We already know what time it is, and I think Roland Martin, he was talking about this last night. I was watching this show. He had the list of who the ones that voted on it, who voted against it, but they ain't give a resolution to honor Emmett Till. They ain't still passed that George Floyd bill.
Right, and
who said that? Yeah, who said that George Floyd was? I mean, in the end of the day, that's still our people. Yeah, we might disagree with his lifestyle. We might disagree what he did. It didn't matter whether he was high or not. That still does not give no right to put that man on his knee neck. And then another thing they did, they expelled the student down in Texas for making mockery. Then y'all made mockery of George Floyd, the knee on the neck challenge. Then y'all made Eric Garner, I can't breathe challenge. Ain't y'all Christian? So what the scripture said, you reap what you sow and you sow what you reap. That's it.
That's it, my brother. Well, shit,
I'm gonna go ahead and pass it though, bro.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for pulling up, Dre. You know, but yeah, man, it's sad, man. But we're gonna continue to push forward. We're gonna push this content, man. And like I said, man, we're gonna keep it clean. And we're gonna get this channel on an algorithm. We're gonna get monetized, and we're gonna elevate, man. And so far, man, we've had 500 new people, man. I've had 400 new subscribers within the last day, and I haven't posted on this channel, and I haven't done a live stream on this channel like within 2 years, almost like at least a year or 2 years. I haven't done no lives over here, so that's pretty good for this, based on the fact that this channel was just collecting dust, and I didn't put no content up over here, right? I didn't do nothing over here. It's been a minute, but yeah, the hypocrisy is real. Like, they focus on our community while ignoring the criminal activity in their own community. And like I said it before, and I say it again. If Charlie spent more time focusing on the criminals in his own community, maybe he would have did a better job when it comes to his safety. And it just is what it is. It's an unfortunate situation. Like, I never celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk, but I will hold Charlie accountable for the things that he said about Black people and the Black community. I'm holding him accountable for that. So listen, we're gonna get up out of here. I'm not gonna make this 2-3 hours. I'm gonna get straight to the point. You're gonna see me uploading a lot of shorts, a lot of 10-minute videos. The longest that I'm gonna make these live streams over here is maybe like an hour and 30 minutes. We're going to get straight to the point. We're going to drop our game, and we're going to keep it pushing. We're going to keep it moving. Shout out to C-Mac for blessing us with a Cash App as well. I appreciate you. Shout out to Dominique for blessing us with a Cash App over here. Hey, man, people are subscribing to the channel. I'm going to get Red Supreme TV 1 a break so that we can build the numbers, up over here. Hit that like button. It ain't nothing. Get us up to a few thousand viewers on this channel today. We already got 1,100 on the Ringo live stream that we did yesterday on this channel. So we're going to continue to push forward. We're going to keep it moving.